CBR, comic book review, I think is what it stands for. I could be wrong on that. But one of the mainstream, I guess, biggest kind of comic book media, journalism, that's where it is. They are what we expect. Certainly, we talked about this even with the ISOM stuff. You know, those guys aren't fond of us. There was several writers that had, let's say, negative things to say about ISOM, and they refused to certainly cover it on their website. And if they were going to cover it, it certainly wasn't going to be objective on either way, which is it is what it is. You know, that's to be kind of expected. It goes in line with everything it is that we certainly say that these are more kind of promotional companies for the major shot callers as opposed to being these sort of objective comic book journalists that care about what's going on in the industry. No, you cover what you're told, goofball. Anyway, one of these guys, he's still bumping his gums, and I wanted to highlight it and make a little money off of video. Now, according to CBR profile, this guy, Anthony, has 1,400 articles that are published on there, so he's done a lot. But he's also done stuff with the likes of the Mary Sue, of course. He says the Screen Rant, the typical kind of channels that you would certainly expect. He had some interesting things to continue to say, excuse me. With that being said, as documented, by the way, pronouns in the bio, typical stuff. Wrote for Polygon as well. Look, he is kind of the meme form of what I think of like kind of entertainment reporting and journalism and coverage or whatever it is that you want to call it. But for whatever reason, he has continued, because they're addicted to me, continue to take shots at myself. And what he'll do is he's had me blocked for a while. And what he does is he'll block, say something and then he'll unblock, right? And then he'll say something, as he did in this post, something in response, but obviously I can't see it. And then he'll like grab a screenshot of the post, post it on his own Twitter, and he's taking these pop shots. And again, I will gladly speak on video or whatever, stream with any of these clowns over there. Certainly this dickhead. Nonetheless, first and foremost, you pussy. With that being said, I think you might be bisexual or whatever you may call yourself. You pussy at the end of the day, whatever you want to call yourself. Let's make that clear. But this was in response to the video that I did where we just basically highlight that, look, this is another kind of confirmation that when you see what happens regarding like sexuality changes and the tokenization within comics, of like legacy characters, there's a legitimate agenda involved. I know people like to try to gaslight you and make it seem like you're just seeing things, but no, this is what it is. And what this was a panel where all these guys got together that were in the industry, right, talking about specifically queer, I think was the term, like writers and how they utilize characters that have already appeared on pages while also doing it to legacy characters. So that speaks to the agenda that we've long sort of said exists. Now, we already knew it was obvious, but they just flat out, hey, this is what the point of the whole deal is. They say it in the actual, if you even go to the video of the panel and you look in the, the description or caption, it says exactly that. Like they tell you exactly what the point here is. And that includes taking legacy characters. Now, what did this goofball say? Was blocked. Shout out to financial operations manager of Riververse. And he says, so he's quote again. I think this is the picture. Yeah, this is the picture of what he says. What he took the picture of what I said instead of course, retweeting me or quote tweeting me or whatever. And this is just our post that my team puts up every video that we do. This is what they do. And of course, he's doing all saying this. This is what he said. A panel about people writing queer stories. One that affects legacy characters. Yeah, that's specifically the point. Like the third Robin or new Spider-Man. And this is a cause for Eric July to complain because a panel exists on how to write queer characters. Well, no, dipshit. The point of the video, as documented, is that it's proving exactly what it is that we've said. Despite gaslighters insisting that you're just seeing things when you talk about there is a legitimate agenda as it pertains to these changing of these legacy characters, right? This just confirmed it. So you can be mad at me for highlighting it all you want, but yeah, that's what they did. They talked about it and the panel exists. Yeah, and they affirm what it is that we've said. Now, I don't expect context to even matter to this crackhead. If I'm not mistaken, somebody did get the picture of what it is that He actually said, yeah, right here. He says, yeah, a panel on gay people, how terrible. What's wrong with this? As if that was like, the main topic isn't even what's wrong with it. As corny as I might think the panel is, that's not even the main topic right now. The main topic is speaking on the affirmation of what, or rather confirmation of what's been taking place in comics and screen based on comic book characters. This is just confirmation. That's it. Now, of course, it's the same group of weirdos who are like, oh, gay people exist. What's the problem? Like, shut the fuck up, idiot. Ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't nobody even tripping on any of what you talking about. It's simply the fact that there is a legitimate agenda here. Call it what you will. They admitted it. That's all I'm doing is confirming. Now, of course, because you're stupid, you need to twist that in order to make it mean something that it's not. And that's well, he has a problem with gay characters. It just existing in general, gay people existing in general is often how they spin it. Despite me having really never said anything negative about North Star, I've promoted Moondragon and the likes many of times, but they completely ignore that because you get goofy tokenized self-insert Spider-Man that's gay and disabled or queer and disabled, whatever they call themselves, and the writer just so happens to also be that as well, right? Who is not fond of me. We've talked about T. Franklin. She doesn't like me. But look, you can be mad at us all you want. And this is the hilarious part because obviously numbers already indicate that you guys who act as if, well, this agenda itself is either non-existent or more you like the fact that it exists. It's not like you go support that work like that anyway. You turn a lot of people off that maybe would have been interested in it, and they've applied this same default to like characters that let's say aren't straight white male characters. And what they do is wrongfully assume that, well, if you have a tokenized version of the character, which is a lazy swap, well, you have a problem with the character that is of that ilk existing all together, as if when really the whole point here is that we just, people want originality and they don't like the whole hyper-emphasizing of. There's two problems with it. Of course, to just be the lazy take in itself from the art perspective, and that's taking a character that already exists and like making a gay version of it or a black version of it or a female version of it or whatever, which has been done throughout comics for decades. Some better than others, but definitely in this day and age where you can just put material out and get it accepted, it's especially just lazy from the art perspective, and the lack of creativity is obvious. The other part of like this whole kind of tokenization deal is often that dominates the storyline. Like that came out of the whole Marvel Pride situation where it was specifically done for the sexuality thing. They told you that, so you hyper-emphasize it. It often makes for bad material, and people are usually gonna like, I'm not really interested in that. That's what you're focusing on. If anything, that the sexuality of the character itself should be the least interesting thing about that character, but because you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing. So, and you conflate that with like, hey, this character is now there's a black version of this character, and you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with black characters, and then this guy right here back here makes 3.7 million, and we just tell you to shut the fuck up when grown folks is talking and watch us do what we do. Stop being pussy, man. Like, you should not need to straw man the positions of like an individual, right? We're not even talking about like vague terms of an application of an entire group, like a boogeyman created up into your mind. We're just specifically talking about me. I'm one of the most accessible people kind of here in this like industry. I do the monetize your hater stuff. I have no problem having conversations with people, especially my detractors. I'm right here. You don't gotta make me say something that I'm not saying because you need me to say it, goofball. And you just do nothing but like amplify our efforts in creating new alternative kind of works, and you put more eyes on it, because what ends up happening is exactly what happened in this video. I'm going to make more money on this video, probably way more than what you're going to make in this next freaking, half year doing bylines or whatever screw dickhead ass, I don't know, whatever you want to call whatever it is you do for Polygon and CBR, because you opted to say something stupid when all you had to do is keep hiding behind the block and just shut the fuck up. Wherever you're viewing the content, I appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, you may be interested in my comic book company, Rippaverse Comics. Our first book and campaign, ISOM #1, brought in $3.7 million with tens of thousands of satisfied customers. Visit Rippaverse.com to check out our store and stay up to date with the latest campaigns from one of the hottest new comic book companies. Also, my first big step towards a parallel economy was the development of my personal website, ericdjuly.com. This entirely replaced my Patreon. Now, if you enjoy this content, please consider becoming a member over at the website. We have an ever-expanding list of perks for various membership tiers, a forum, and a phone app. Some of these perks will even benefit you if you're fans of the Rippaverse. Anyway, I appreciate you so much for being a supporter and or customer. I even got a little love for my haters.